You are on.
Okay, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. We moved our Saturday class to Wednesday because I'm unavailable on Saturday. And today, myself, Yumna Gata, and my colleague, Dr. John Nyamunda, will be taking you through Gordon's models, multiplier models, and standard deviation. So without further delay, let's get to the first section of Gordon models. Okay, so I did start this model in last week's, on Saturday's lesson, but I just want to start from the beginning again because it's a build up. So you understand each section because it builds on each other. So we have what you call a dividend discount model, right? So basically what section this comes from is valuation. We're trying to value assets. So previously in our previous lessons, we did valuation of bonds, right? So how did we do a valuation of bonds? We took the payment and the future value and we brought it back to present value to get the value of the bond, what you'll pay today for it, right? So now we are focusing, instead of bonds, we're focusing on shares. And how we're going to value shares is in the very same way. So shares don't do interest payments. What they do is they pay dividends. So we'll be using dividend discount model to value shares, right? So it's a calculation used to determine the value of a paying share, right? The intrinsic value of an asset is determined by the future income of the asset as well as the capital appreciation, right? So you take the price into account as well as your income. So that's how we get the intrinsic value of any asset, right? Excuse me. We valued, like I told you, we valued bonds in the same way. So I'd like to start off with a section which I didn't do in last week's lesson, is a no growth model. Because a no growth model focuses on shares which do not pay dividends, it's a preference share, so their dividends do not grow. So basically the dividends is a percentage of the value of the share, but it will be given to you. But how do we value a no growth dividend share, right? So each year you receive the same dividend, it doesn't grow. So from 5 Rand, it goes to 5 Rand, it goes to 5 Rand. As you can see, in between there's no growth from year 1 to 3, right? So how do you value a share like this? What you do is you take the dividend and you divide it by your required rate of return and you will get the value of a share. So it's quite simple. These are usually preference shares. They're valued in this way here where you don't experience any growth on the dividend. It's just percentage based on the value of the share. So this is the dividend discount model with no growth, right? So we can go to the next slide. It's quite simple. Now here we go on to the next level, right? So we have a constant growth model. The company is growing at a normal rate and at a constant rate. So what we mean here is that year on year the dividends increase by a constant growth rate, right? So the dividend in here, the dividend in year 1 will be 5 Rand 30, right? So today the dividend is 5 Rand. If you multiply by 6%, which is the growth rate, if you can see here at the bottom, the growth rate on the formula, if we multiply by 6%, you will get 5 Rand 30. In year 2, it grows by the same percentage, which is 6%. In year 3, it grows by the same percentage, which is 5 Rand 90, right? So when you have a constant growth model, you will use the following formula to value a share, right? So if you look at the top of the page, we say price is equal to D1 over K minus G, right? So if you guys remember last week Saturday's class is that you must remember to use D1, the dividends from the next year, the future dividends, right? So they'll tell you today the dividend is 5 Rand. You need to multiply it by the growth rate to be able to get your dividends in year 1, right? So if you move on to looking at the bottom of the page, in the above example on this number line, we have dividend value today is 5 Rand. We multiply it by 6%, so you say 1,06, right? Which will give you 5 Rand 30, as you can see on the number line, right? You divide that by your required rate of return less your growth rate, right? So once you solve for that, you will get the value of the share to be 106 rands, right? So as I'm going through these slides, have your calculator ready and verify what I'm saying. If you use your fingers, input it into the calculator, later on when you go and you look at this presentation, it will make a lot more sense to you, right? So just verify that 5 Rand multiplied by 1.06 is 5 Rand 30. You divide it by 0,11 minus 0,06, right? Which is in other terms 11% and 6%. You must get the value of 106 Rand, right? So it's a simple calculation. You just need to remember that we work with D1 instead of D in year 0, right? So that's how you do a constant growth model. So let's look at an example, right? So when you are busy writing your exam, you would very rarely get a question whereby you just need to calculate the value of a constant growth dividend paying share. What you will be given is this is one of the scenarios you will be given, right? So let's look at this example. We have Black Limited has a current dividend of 1 Rand 20. So current dividend means DO, right? Dividend per share that is expected to grow at a rate of 4% indefinitely, right? So it's indefinitely means it's a constant growth, right? It has a beta of 0,9. The risk-free rate is 7%, and the return on the market is 12%. Calculate the intrinsic value of Black Limited using the constant growth model, right? So as you can see, the required rate of return is not given. How will you calculate the required rate of return? Whenever you see beta in a word problem or in the question, you must know what must come to your mind is CAPM formula, right? So your CAPM formula, your required rate of return, which is K, is equal to your risk-free rate plus beta times by the return on the market less the risk-free rate, right? This little section in brackets, the short version of it is called your market risk premium, right? If the question says your market risk premium is so, that means that it's already calculated for you. You just need to substitute in. However, here they've given it to us separately. The return on the market is 12%. You still have to subtract the risk-free rate, right? So once you input these values into the formula, which is 7% is your risk-free rate, plus 0,9 is your beta, times by 12 minus 7, right? Which is now, once you solve for that, 5 is your market risk premium, right? Which is, you must remember it's 0,05 because we're working with percentage form. You will get the required rate of return of 11.5, right? Which is 11.5%, right? Everything is in, return is in percentage form. Now you can use this 11.5% to calculate the price of the dividend, right? So what we say is, it seems like I've skipped a step here, but if you can do it with me, I can talk you through it. Please make a note on paper. That's why we have these lessons. You must have your pen and paper ready. So you have to calculate D1, right? Which is D0, 1 Rand 20, which was given, multiplied by 1 plus 4%, 1,04, right? Divided by K minus G, which is 11.5% less 4%. Okay, there's John doing it for us. And you will get 1,28248, right, which is your dividend in year 1. 0,115 less, it's less 4%.
Is it less 4%? Yeah, it's less 4%. So this one should be 4.
Okay, so in my formula, my answer it's incorrect, but let's calculate the correct answer.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, it's 5.5%. 1,248 divided by.
The top one is correct. Divided by 11.5 minus what? Minus 4.
Minus 4 is 5.5.
Not 7.5.
7.5, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, 7.5, yeah. That's something like that. Then 1.248 divided by 0.075. Oh, but your answer is correct.
The answer is correct. Okay, so it's just a copy and paste error.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right, so the answer is 16.64, right? So this is how you will generally be given a question in the exam. You calculate your required rate of return. Then you use that return to calculate your value using your constant growth model. Now, I have given you a question to do, and let's see if you can use the example we did previously to complete this question. So Haval Limited will pay a dividend of 2 Rand per share this year that is expected to grow at a constant growth rate of 5%. It has a beta of 1.1 and a market risk premium. So remember I spoke to you about a market risk premium, means the brackets are calculated for you in your CAPM formula. The risk-free rate is 6%. Calculate the intrinsic value of Haval Limited using a constant growth model. You can calculate and put your answer in the chat, and
are you taking a break, Yumna? It's 40 past.
Yes, I'm going to be just gone for a few minutes and I'll be back. So 3 minutes.
Okay, but I'm here. Okay, so I'll be waiting for the guys to post something in the chat. If you have a question, ladies and gents, post in the chat or just post the answer in the chat, then off we go. Now don't have a calculator on my way home from work. Angel, you can't answer. If you're on your way, yeah, okay. If you're on your way, then there isn't much yeah, it'll be hard to do it in your head, Angel. But if you were sitting at your desk, I was going to give you a way around. But now that you're not at your desk, then you can only listen to the silence, or you can talk to me in the meantime while Yumna is not there. When you get the required return using the capital asset pricing model, please put the answer in the chat so that we can have a feeling of where you are. Angel,
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, yeah, back. Oh, okay. Angel is asking, do you think it's easier to use Excel when calculating Y and V or a financial calculator? What do you think, Yumna?
It just depends on your experience, Angel. Like if you're very familiar with Excel, it's quite similar to, or like it should be good to use. But I'm not sure. I don't think you can actually use Excel in the exam. I don't know if they'll allow you to open up any other
On your
application.
Excel, yeah, just make sure that you master the calculator to be on the safe side. But for me, it would be easier to use the Excel because then you can trace your error. Once I learned how to use Excel to do financial calculations, I never saw the value of a financial calculator.
Okay. So you see, John is too clever for us. You see, you can
Yes.
still talk to me because I use a financial calculator.
Oh, you still use a financial calculator? No, not me anymore.
Calculator. I love my financial calculator, and I'm amazed at the things that it calculates. That's how behind I am. So imagine like Excel. I've heard like great things about it, and
Oh, it does great things. Even if you're not using Excel, I don't know why you're missing out.
yeah, it's true. No, but I really need to. It's one of my goals just to
To,
master.
to, to master it, especially if you have the beauty of it, because you have the theory behind you.
Yes, yes, and like
So it's just converting that theory to say, yeah, because I do lots of funny things. So people want to calculate a return to say, nah, this and that. I just sometimes I build models and send it around. Say, okay, put your numbers in there. It will give you what you are looking for. Then I said to myself, wow, Excel is beautiful.
yeah, no, definitely, and like we have like even doing this investment course, you're understanding, how these calculations, or like now that you
Yes.
guys are all going to know the formulas,
Hmm.
it's going to be quite simple for us to grasp.
It will be, it's interesting. It's interesting. And then there was people who were challenging me one and a client meeting one of the days. No, but the return shouldn't be. Then I said, do you really want us to calculate? Yes. Then I set them down. I opened my spreadsheet and I'm starting to put my long formula, my future value. I felt so happy with myself that day.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone
Yeah,
was quiet afterwards. But I'm sure they were confused.
no, but I'm sure they were, you know, impressed as well.
But they were asking me, so I was happy for them to be confused. Okay. Oh, is the Opa's answer is 65, and Ruan's
Yeah,
answer is also 65.
no, yeah, but
Doesn't
I'm a
that
bit
get you a little
worried.
bit worried?
There's option for 65 here.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
the.
yeah. So maybe this market risk premium is
Yeah,
what's
then but it gives us an opportunity to do that whole thing together. That's a good thing.
okay. So should we go to
21, Angelique got 21 is 43. Yumna, I went on mute both sides.
no? Okay,
Yes.
sorry
No,
about that.
no, no,
I'm
no.
back.
Should we
Okay,
do it
so
together? What do you think?
Yes, we should do it together.
Okay, there it is, my not so favorite program.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
So we are saying we are using capital asset pricing model first.
Yes, capital asset pricing model to determine the required rate of return.
So what's our risk-free?
Risk-free rate
Is
plus
6.
beta times by our market risk premium.
So we say our market return, market
risk premium is 8%. So it's calculated already.
Oh, it's calculated already. So risk premium, risk premium. So we only need to put the beta here.
Beta, yes.
What our beta is 1.1. So we say equals to that which is risk-free plus this. Okay, we are teaching Will now. Let's not be quiet.
Yeah.
Times the beta. Okay, let's do the times beta times the risk premium, which gives us 14.8, which is this is the required return. Or okay, let's say K so that we are consistent.
Right.
So our P price is equals to D1. Do we have D1 there?
Before you go further.
Yes, over.
Our formula, is it not risk premium plus
no
market premium?
No, so what I was explaining in the last, I used to, sorry, Okra, the formula is return on the market. Here, what I've given you is market risk premium. So when I was in undergrad, they used to call it market risk premium when you solve for the brackets. So I tried to just, give you guys a clue, explain it
before.
in the
When you were explaining, you gave a clue.
So yeah, it's just like once you solve for the brackets, once you say return on the market less your risk-free rate, then you get 8%. So it's already solved. The brackets are already solved. So you must just be aware the market risk premium is when the brackets are solved, and the return on the market is when you need to solve. Like the return on the market would, in this case here, be it would be 6 plus 8, which is 12. So it would be 12 less 6, which is 8. So the market risk premium is when your bracket is solved. It's a premium. So once you return on the market less risk-free rate.
Are we good, Opa, so that we can proceed?
Oh, now I get it. I saw where I made a mistake. Because there, yeah, thank you so much for that.
Oh, you said 8 minus 6.
Yes, I said 8 minus 6. So I was wondering why are these figures too small?
Oh, yeah, that's why I never put that. But you see, just the market risk premium is the bracket solved. I don't know if they'll test you on that level, but they used to always do that to us in my undergrad. So just be aware of it. Market risk premium is the bracket solved.
Okay. So now we are solving the price there.
So now we can. Okay. So price is equal to
2 times 1 point. What was the growth rate there?
5%.
0.5 divided by that 14.8. Yeah, 14.8. 0.148 minus what is the minus 5? 0.05. Anyone who is lost?
That's what your answer would be, 21.43.
Centel is perfect. Angelique is perfect.
Refillway?
Refillway, where is Refillway? 2577. I don't know what she missed.
Okay.
Van Zyl. Yes, Refillway.
I missed it on the, like Nina was explaining the brackets. That's where I messed up.
Oh, the premium there.
Yes.
Okay, should we proceed?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes, yes.
So this is exactly what John did for us in Excel. So we got a free Excel
Oh, well,
demo
Excel
here.
lesson.
Yes. So yeah, we're quite lucky. Now
That's
Excel practice tonight.
okay. So let's do multi-stage.
All right. So then after this, so this is why we're doing a build up. First we had no growth. That was our no growth share. Then we had a constant growth. There is growth, but it's growing at the same rate every year. But now you get certain companies. Why do we have a multi-stage dividend growth model? Is because these companies are busy growing. They're getting to like a high level of growth. So their dividends will grow at different rates until the company stabilizes, and then the dividends generally become constant, right? So if you look at the number line in this here, so I will highly suggest to you when you are working with a multi-stage dividend growth model, it's always advisable to draw the number line. So you can see, because now you have to bring everything back to the present value, the way we did with bonds, but now we're working with shares and dividends. So what we do is we draw a number line so we can clearly see each step that needs to be brought back to year 0, right? So if you look at this number line, we started off with the same company. It had a dividend of 5 Rand, right? But this company is now experiencing some serious growth. So the dividend is growing for 20% for year 1 to 3, right? So you see each year I've grown the dividends by 20%, right? So I've worked it out here. I've grown it to 20 by 20%, right? So there's the answers there. So if we say 5 Rand times by 1.2, right, which is 1 plus 20% is equal to 6 Rand. Then we say 6 Rand times by 1.2, we'll get 7 Rand 20, right? Then we will say 7 Rand 20 multiplied by 1.2 to get 8 Rand 64, right? So this is where I got these figures from. Please write that down. And then they say in year 4, the dividends are stabilizing, right? And they're stabilizing at 10%, right? So we need to still calculate the dividend in year 4, because in our formula to calculate the price, we use D1, right? So what we say is 8.64 times 1.1 gives you 9.5. Can you see how the growth rate has changed, right? So you'll get 9.5 is your D4, right? So when you are working with a question like this, we use a 3-step approach. We calculate the dividends. That's what I did with you right now, right? Then you calculate your price when dividends stabilize, right? So how do we calculate the price? That's step 2. We said our dividends in year 4 are 9 Rand 50. This is the only time we can calculate the price is when dividends stabilize, right? So our dividends stabilized at 9 Rand 50, right, which is 10%, and our required rate of return is 15%. Our constant growth rate is 10%. This will give you the price of 190 Rand in year 3, right? So this is in year 3. Then what we have to do is we have to bring everything back to present value, right? So we use a formula to do that. We have D1, D2, D3. Then what you do is you take your price that you calculated 190, you put it over 1 plus K, right, to the power 3, right? Because it's in year 3, you're bringing everything back. That's why I aligned it under year 3 on the number line, right? Okay. So here on my where I've written down the formula, I forgot to change the 9 Rand 50 supposed to be 190. Okay, 190. But here the answer is correct, 124.92. Okay, so now what we do is we say 6 Rand divided by 1,15, right? Gives you 5 Rand 20. You put your decimals to 4 places. 5.2174. 7 Rand 20 we calculated in year 2. Divide by 1,15 squared, right? Our dividends in year 3 divided by 1,15 cubed to the power 3. Then it's supposed to be 190, which is your price, divided by 1,15 to the power 3, because we're bringing everything back to present value. Once you add all your dividends plus your price, you will get a present value or current value of the share of 141 Rand and 27 cents, right? So that's how you calculate with the 3-step approach a multi-stage dividend growth model, right? The other thing which you can do, if you're very comfortable with your financial calculator, which makes life a lot easier, is that on your financial calculator you have a key called cash flow. It's a big CF key, right? So what you do is you go to your cash flow key and it will tell you the first thing you'll see there is CF0, right? So in CF0, what you do is you put 0 inside there because there's no initial outlay, right? So CF0, you make it 0. Then you go to cash flow in year 1. Your cash flow in year 1, you received 6 Rand dividends, right? So you put in your 6 Rand, which we calculated. Then you do cash flow in year 2, which is 7 Rand 20 we calculated. Your cash flow in year 3, you add your dividend to your price because they're both in year 3, right? You do cash flow in year 3, right? Then you go to your net present value key. It will say NPV. You open up that, you enter in 15% on your interest rate. Then you put your arrow down and you'll get net present value and you'll say compute or enter depending on which calculator you have, and you'll get the very same answer. So these are the 2 options which you can use. You're comfortable with your calculator? It's simple. You just enter in your values and you'll get the correct amount. If you want to do it both ways to make sure your answer is correct, do that as well. But these are your 2 options when calculating a multi-stage model. And just remember your steps. Calculate dividends, then you calculate your price, and then you bring it back to present value, right? So now we have a question on the multi-stage model, right? We have Velvet Corporation just paid dividends of 2 Rand per share, D0. Assume that dividends will grow by 18% per year for the next 2 years. After that, growth is expected to level off at a constant rate of 6% per year. The required rate of return is 8%. Calculate the intrinsic value using a 2-stage dividend growth model. So if you can attempt this for me, remember step 1, calculate your dividends. Step 2, calculate your price in year 2. Step 3, bring everything back to year 0. Right? So you're only bringing back 2 years and not 3 like the previous question, right? If you can attempt that for me.
You know, I meant to take a nap before this lesson, but no chance.
Shame, John.
No chance.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to sound tired.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about the evening lessons. Like, you can feel the difference on a Saturday. There's a lot more energy. You can hear people are free. The responses are quick.
Yes. Yeah. After hours.
Yeah.
But it's
So
I think it's worthwhile
all
for
about
if they come and push like they are doing now, I think it's really worthwhile.
Yeah, because like now is your exam period, you know.
Yeah, it's approaching. It's approaching.
Yeah, so you know you have to be in your study mode. Like, you know, my sister always used to tell me that you know, they used to at university they used to tell them that, I don't know in Durban how it is, but here in Joburg there's these purple flowers, jacarandas growing, you know.
Oh yes, yeah. There is a jacaranda tree which I run past every time.
Yes. So if that has started growing and you haven't started studying, you're going to.
Or if there are purple flowers on the road and you haven't started studying, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. She would always tell me that. Yes. So
ladies and gentlemen, please, when you get a dividend for year 1 and year 2, post in the chat and then the price so that we can see progress.
okay, each step you can post.
Each step so that we know where you are. Because if everyone is quiet, we don't know whether you are stuck in first stage or where are you stuck.
So John, you are a runner. Do you do the marathons?
I don't do the marathons. I just run to just stay there, stay alive.
Or to stay alive? Okay.
So I used to do run marathons, but you know me, I ask myself these questions from time to time. I was sitting there and preparing for a marathon, and I say, but why do I want to run a marathon? I didn't have a good reason.
Okay.
Because then I was just saying, then I'm running in a group. When I was asking that, then I say, but people usually run marathons too because they want something to train towards. I didn't care about those marathons because I ran every day without training towards anything.
Okay.
Then I scratched that.
Yeah.
But ever since I started running, it's one of the good decisions I made, I think. Because you spend the day with a lot of energy.
Beneficial, you don't get any injuries.
You are at my age, you get injured from time to time. Oh, no. You don't get injuries. When I was much younger, okay, today we are teaching really in the evening. That I'm forgetting that I'm young.
Yes.
Okay. Angelique has put some dividends there. That's good. In my 30s, Yumna, from about 30, when I started running like every day, I think I was about 33, to about 40, no problems.
Yes.
Over 40, you start to have small problems. The foot is sore, the knees are sore, the back is sore from time to time. So all these things start to crop up. You say, oh, okay, I think I'm getting old.
Yes, John, I don't know then I should be worried because every time I decide to run, my knee, like, you know, it's either my knee or my ankle, and I'm only 34 now.
So you're still spring chicken to be having all those problems.
Yeah, to have that, you know, and like I'll just ask, or like, you know, I'll wonder why it's so, and they would just tell me at the gym, oh, it's the running.
Yes, the running is hard on the body.
Yeah, they say no, it's the running. So it's like, but it's like my goal to like,
it's an easy thing.
Yeah, no, it's for me, it's the only workout that is difficult, you know. So I want to challenge myself with
you want to challenge yourself and run on the road.
Yeah.
The running is tough on the body, but for me, why I chose running, it's simple. I wake up, put on my running shoes and my t-shirt, and I'm out on the road. Run, then I run 35 minutes, 45 minutes, or whatever time I'm running that day. Come back, shower, the day starts.
The day starts. That's excellent,
Then at some point I joined the running club. And I realized that I'm not good running with people.
You like to run alone.
I like to run alone. But only that now recently, because I want my daughter to run now. Now that the whole thing about being a parent now catches up with you quickly.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So I go run by myself, come back, fetch my daughter, then go run slowly with my daughter for 3 kilometers, then you come back.
Guys, this is inspiration from Dr. John. You guys need to be running faster than your kids.
Yes, of course.
Every day. Every day.
Yes, every day.
No matter how old you are.
But after one thing I discovered, after running, you're upbeat. All the problems which you wake up with, they are gone.
They're gone, yes. No, like I'm around a lot of runners. It's like
Yeah, it's
you know,
the right thing.
they speak about how official it is then.
Yes.
Only the problem is this marathons are a problem because, like, you know, once they joined the marathon, it was like it became a stressful thing, you know, because they needed to meet certain targets and
Yes,
stuff.
yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, marathon. Then it's not just running for fun. You need to have a certain speed so that you qualify. Okay, like I see people are putting in the dividends. Now let's go for the P, and then you find the present values. Yeah, the marathon. I didn't like the marathon I ran the other time. It's called what? I'm getting water in the up there in the after Marisburg. What's that place called? Midma. Yes,
Oh,
we were running in Midma.
yeah.
I didn't like it. It was a hot day, and it's about 125 k's from Durban. After running, I was feeling terrible. But it's 40 kilometers. It's not a.
Oh my word.
At that point, it wasn't a stretch for me because I was used to running early morning. I would run 40 kilometers because I was training for the comrades at that point. So 40 kilometers wasn't a bad day. Heat.
Heat, yeah.
It was a February day and it was so hard.
Sure. But like, so you did the comrades as well?
No, the comrades I didn't. Everyone was discouraging me.
Oh, that is something I don't understand how people do that. That is just
my sister was discouraging me, my wife was discouraging me, and
sure.
I didn't have a good reason to run the comrades, so that's how it fell by the wayside.
There was a few people who joined like this year, you know, that I knew of.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, like the way they speak of it, like I don't know why would you ever want to run something like that, eh?
No, it's a challenge. It's a good challenge to yourself.
Yeah, when they came back, it was like, you know, you could understand their accomplishment.
Yes, to say they accomplished something. I don't see. Opa, where are you stuck?
Okay, so let's see here.
I just came back now, so I was feeding the kids.
Oh, okay, yes. That whole story about being a parent at the same time.
Yes.
Let's ask who else should we ask? Yumna? Okay, prize. Okay, Ruan. Okay, Ruan was a prize at least.
Okay.
Jacqueline, how far are you? No, I'm supposed to find Angelique because she has the dividends long back.
So Angelique,
Angelique, I'm on my way home. Jacqueline is on my own way, okay? Angelique, where are you? Then who else? Clove. How far are you from the answer? Because I see they already done the dividends.
so let's see if you've done your dividends right. It's
Okay,
D2 to get to D1 is 1.18. You times by 1.18. Then after that you times by 1.18.
should we show them the answer, Yumna?
Yes, we should get to the answer.
Yes.
Okay. So here we got step 1, we calculate the future dividends. D0 is 2 Rand, D1 is 2 times 1.18, which is 2.36. Then you take the 2.36, you put it down here by D2, you multiply by...
But you didn't say well done to Ruan. Look at Ruan's answer there.
Oh, let's see.
131, you right on the door.
111. Oh, excellent.
Yes, perfect. Okay, now you can explain to everyone, to all of us.
Okay. So you take your answer of D1. You put it down here by D2, you multiply by 1.18 to get 2.7848, 2 Rand 78.48. Then the reason why we're calculating D3 is so we can calculate the price using D3. So in D3, the dividend is expected to stabilize at 8%, please, no, at 6%, right? So we say times by 1.06, you get 2.9519, right? Then you go to step 2, which you calculate the price, right? So using this D3, so you see you just put one after the other, everything flows. 2.9519 divided by your required rate of return, which is 8%, less your growth rate, which is 6%, to get the price in year 2 at 147.95, right? Now you have to bring all these values back to year 0. Okay, we have a question from Jacqueline.
Okay, I just wanted to ask quickly, the 1.18, I know the 18, it's the percentage, but then I'm more confused with the one.
With the one.
Yes,
Okay.
can you please quickly just take me back to that 1.1?
Okay.
18, yes.
Okay, so now your dividends in year 0 is 2 Rand, right? Now the dividend is growing by 18%, right? So how do you calculate your dividend for year 2, right? You say D1 is equal to D0 multiplied by 1 plus 0.8.
That 1.1, that's the one she's unhappy with.
So 1.1, basically, if you said 2 Rand times by 18%, you'll find out you'll get only this 36 cents. Now you must add the 36 cents to 2 Rand to get 2 Rand 36, which is your new dividend. Your dividend grows by 36 cents. So basically, we're just making it easier for you. You add a 1 into your formula. You make a formula to get it to be, you'll get the answer straight, 2 Rand 36. So we'll just say if the dividend is growing by 18%, you say 2 Rand times by 18%, you'll get 36 cents. So the dividend is growing by 36 cents. In year 1, you're going to receive 2 Rand plus 36 cents. So what we do is, to make it simpler for you, you just say 1 plus the growth rate will give you your D2, will give you your D1 same time. I hope you can.
Are you happy, Angelique?
Yes, I'm happy. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we do is we calculate value at year 0. So we take our first dividend, 2 Rand 36 cents, divided by 1,08, which is our return, our required rate of return. Then we take our D2, which is 2 Rand 78.48, divided by 1.08 squared, plus our price, which we calculated as 147.95 divided by 1.08 squared, right? Because this is in year 2, we calculated our price. After year 2, things are stabilizing. So once you add all these present values, you'll get the answer of 131.11, right? Just to stay on the slide, if you wanted to do it on your calculator, you would open your cash flow key. Your cash flow in year 1 would be 2 Rand 36. Your cash flow in year 2 will be 27848 plus 147.95, right? Then you'd open up your net present value, put in 8% in your interest per year, and you'll compute your net present value. You'll get 131 Rand.11 cents. Okay, so I hope you guys are happy with that. So let's go with a 3-stage dividend growth, dividend discount model. That was a 2-stage. Okay, Sibongile, you can go ahead.
Hi, Ms. Yumna. My question is there on the chat.
I was someone we were not monitoring the chat. Okay, let's see. Can we be asked to calculate V1 or another value?
No, not. I haven't come across anything in this module here. So you'll always be calculating your value, current price.
Your price of the share. You always calculate the price of the share.
B0. Okay. So now we have a three-stage dividend growth model like the one we did in the first example. We say Maroon Limited just paid dividends of 1 Rand per share this year. The dividend is expected to grow at 15% over the next 2 years and 8% in year 3. Thereafter, from year 4, the growth is expected to level off at a constant growth of 4%. Maroon Limited has a required rate of 18%. Calculate the intrinsic value of Maroon Limited using a three-stage dividend discount model, right? So remember, step 1, calculate your dividends. Step 2, calculate your price, right? So in year 3, you're going to calculate your price. That's where always the confusion comes in. Which year do you calculate the price? So once dividends level off, you calculate in that year. Then step 3, you bring everything back to present value. You can try and attempt these. Like John suggested to you guys, put your dividends in the chat so that you can go on to the next step and then the final step. So remember, your dividends are growing by 15% for the first 2 years, 8% for the third year, and leveling off at 4% from the fourth year onwards.
So what we did previously hasn't really changed. Only that the percentages are now variable. They are changing variable. They are varying from year to year.
Yes. And if you draw your number line so that you have a visual of what exactly is happening from year 1 to 3, including year 4, then do everything underneath each other because everything flows. From D1, you calculate D2. From D2, you calculate D3. From D3, you calculate D4. From D4, you calculate price. From price, you put it into the formula to bring everything back to present value.
I'm sure Ruan is on his way to the answer.
With the answer, Ruan did well in the previous one.
With the previous one, yeah. Because if you master the previous one, this one is just a small step forward.
So these calculations are not really that difficult. I wouldn't say it's a difficult part of investment management. They're lengthy, the calculations.
Yeah, they're lengthy. They are lengthy.
And it makes sense, it makes a lot of sense. So hopefully you can master these questions in the exam.
So when you were doing your undergrad, how did you find these dividend discount models?
I could only remember doing constant dividend discount models.
Me too. The three-stage one or the two-stage one was really confusing me.
Yeah, but like when I was here, I would always, it always comes down to the word problem, at which year do you things back.
I remember the first time I saw it, there was a theory. I used to use to read this lots of theory to say some companies have a high growth period and followed by a constant growth. That's where I started
Getting confused, or you understood?
No. I understood that, but then when they got to the three-stage discount model, that I wasn't happy with. It was confusing. The two-stage.
Yeah.
The two-stage was fine, but the three-stage, I don't know why I got confused with the three-stage.
Okay.
But I'm not the fastest off the block. What I lack in cleverness, I catch up with the hard work.
Hard work.
Yeah.
I think even if you have a great mind, you still have to work hard,
Yeah, that's one thing that's why I was telling my daughters. The secret to success is boring. That's what I was telling you the other day.
Secret to success is, sorry?
Is boring.
Boring, oh.
Because there is no secret. You just have to really work hard.
You have to work hard, yes.
Yeah. That's what I was telling you. Secret to success is really boring. She was asking me how she wanted to make a speech and a big speech, and I said, my child, if you go and tell them that the secret to success is boring, they won't listen, but let's find a nice way to put it across. To say, to be successful, you should work hard. Oh, well, what teenager would want to hear that?
It's true.
They think there's some big secret.
Yeah, no, it's true, because even like as small as my kids are, they hate to hear that, because
Tell them I have a secret, which what, I'm just at the bar and everything easy.
Yes, no, because I tell them, like watching TV is so easy and it makes you happy, but it doesn't get you anywhere,
No way.
But they believe this TV is the most divine thing,
For me, Ruan already has an answer there.
Oh, let's see. Price 14 point.
Oh, you're checking to see if so that you can see if he's on the right. Ruan, look at your answer. Somehow Yumna is disagreeing with you.
No, but I think this is your price at the step 2.
Oh, price at the end of the period. Oh, okay.
To get your value, V0. Right, second step is price. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. Yeah, for me, I was my older daughter when she was in primary school. Actually, she was getting excited watching all these, those soapies on TV. One day I just came and said no more. Oh, she was so angry with me. If parents could beat their parents, the children would beat their parents. That day was my day.
Sure. But John, like for me, like I've also said like no to it.
Just
it's difficult at first day, even for myself, because it's so peaceful when kids are watching TV.
Yes,
I don't have to
easy.
watch over anyone. Don't ask me for anything.
Yes.
But this load shedding helped, because then I find it difficult to say no, and I can see a difference in my kids. You can't believe the effect of this, this television. I can see them playing. I can see them.
Yes, they are being creative. They
they going outside in the garden and
doing things, doing some things.
Yeah, so it's like it's a great thing, you just got to.
No, I just have to put your foot down and say no. I said no to my daughter. Oh, she was angry.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because they have friends at school. Opa is, do you think it's easier to use Excel when calculating for INB? Oh yeah, that question, Opa, that question is, we said when I asked the Yumna, and in my opinion, it's easier to use Excel. It's easier to use Excel, but whether you'll be allowed to use Excel in the exam, that's what we don't know, because we don't know what the invigilator app looks at.
My answer, and I didn't know that I had clicked there. I was not into that. My answer is 9.25.
Oh, 9.25. Okay. Oh, okay. You just clicked the reply button.
By mistake.
No worries. Okay. 9.25. Let's see if we are how far we are. Oh, okay. Okay. You're onto something, Opa. You are onto something. I'm waiting for Ruan. Ruan, you asked, keeps keeping us guessing there, Yumna.
Yes. Step 2.
Step
for Ruan. Step 3.
Okay, Angelique. Oh, see, we're ignoring Angelique. You are onto something, Angelique. But then I ended up now, my older daughter ended up, now she doesn't watch TV that much. But now she's far away. She's in Cape Town. My baby's in Cape Town.
Wow, that's so.
My baby's in Cape Town, third year.
So she's studying there.
Yeah, she's third year. She's doing the pharmacy there.
Oh, that's so great. Man.
It will be great
It's
when
a
she
very good
finishes.
profession to go into.
Yeah, but I always ask her, do you still like it? Because they go and do this community service or do these small attachments. Do you
Yes.
still like it? And I'm happy every time when she says, yes, I still like it. You know, with children, you have to ask that question.
Yes, yes.
They will spend 4 years and in $500,000 and then they don't like it. I say, wow, that was the easy loss.
Don't say that. As it is, like, we try so hard to
We
like.
try so hard and then it's just a
Yeah.
way.
As it is, like the school fees, like I never in my life paid school fees like
Okay.
I
People are on the right track there.
like like when I was at school.
Yumna, you did a good job.
Fees, like,
You did a good job. I can see all
yes.
these answers which are looking correct.
Okay.
So should we proceed?
Yes, we can proceed.
Okay, you can take them through unless if they want us to do step by step.
Okay, so the correct answer is 9.25. If everybody is okay with that, step 1, we calculated the dividends, right? Step 2, we calculated the price.
The value at the end of the period.
The value. And then step 3, we brought everything back to present value where you get 9.25. So if everybody is okay with that.
Do you want, okay, let's ask the question. Do you want us to do step by step or you are happy with this answer so that we can proceed and do something else? Put in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, put in the chat so that we, because like Yumna was saying the last week, we don't want to be rushing and then we are making progress, but we are not really making progress. Okay? People are fine. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay, so that was very well done. Now we have...
Oh, then there's one person who wants step by step.
The Filway, okay. We can go step by step. I can take it through quickly, if that's okay. All right, so step 1, we calculate the dividends, right? So we were given dividends in year 1, in year 0, which is 1 Rand. So from 1 Rand, we calculate D1. We say 1 times by 1.15, which the share is expected to grow at for the next 2 years. So you get 1 Rand 15 cents. You take the 1 Rand 15 cents to calculate D2. You multiply it again by 1 Rand 15 cents. You're supposed to get 1.3225. 1.3225 multiplied by 8% in year 3. So you get 1.4283. Then you take 1.4283 down to calculate the constant growth dividend, which is 4%, 1.04, you get 1.4854. You use this 1.4854 to calculate your price at year 3. 1.4854 divided by 18% less 4%. Your required rate of return is 18% less 4%. Your growth rate will give you 10 Rand 61 for your price at year 3. Then you go to step 3. You put everything into the formula to calculate your V at year 0. So you say 1.15, right, which is your dividend in year 1, divided by 1.18 to the power 1, so it remains the same. Then you take your D2, you put it over 1.18 squared, right? Then you take your D3, which you calculated, 1.18 cubed, right, to the power 3, plus your price, 10.61, again over 1.183, because we calculated our price in year 3. You add up all of these values, you'll get a value today of 9 Rand 25 for Maroon Limited's share.
Let's move on.
Okay. So now another version of the way in which you will be asked to calculate dividend growth model is they will ask you to use your earnings multiplier model, right? You'll find this in chapter 9, study unit 8, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not so good with these study units, but you'll find it there. And the dividend discount model is converted into an earnings model. How do they do that? They make the assumption that earnings grow at the same constant growth rate as the payout ratio is also constant, right? So the payout ratio is directly linked to your dividends because whatever you pay out is your dividends, right? That's your payout ratio. This model implies that in a stable market, dividends are strongly related to earnings of the share. So the best way to explain this is if we look at an example, right? Bronze Limited currently retains 80% of its earnings, which are 5 Rand a share this year, right? So earnings is not the same as dividend. Earning is everything the company has earned, right? Per share it's 5 Rand, right? And it retains 80% of these earnings. 80% it keeps in the company, 20% it's giving to the shareholder, right? So it earns a return on equity of 20%. Assuming the required rate of return is 18%, how much would you pay for Bronze Limited using the multiplier model, right? So now a new formula comes in here. To be able to calculate your growth rate, you must be given the return on earnings, right, multiplied by the retention rate. So in the first part of the question, they said the company retains 80%. That is your retention rate, how much the company is retaining of the earnings, right? Our return on equity was also given. So we say 0.8 times by 0.2 will give you 0.16 or 16%, right? So we've calculated our growth rate. We now convert or change the dividend growth model formula into the following formula, right? To calculate the PE ratio. So we're no longer calculating the value of the share, we're calculating your price to earnings ratio. How do we do that? We take our dividend, right, what we paid out, our dividend, what we paid out over our earnings, right, divided by the same denominator K minus G, right? So dividends over earnings gives you your payout ratio, right? So in this case here, they told us the company retains 80%. So it's paying out 20%. So we put our payout ratio on the numerator, right? 0.2. So once you do the calculation, you will get an answer of 10. So your PE ratio is 10 times. Your price to earnings ratio is 10 times. Now we need to work out the price. We were given the earnings, our current earnings are 5 Rand a share. So to work out the price, what we do is we take our PE ratio times by our earnings. So, but what you need to remember is you're not doing earnings in year 0. You have to do earnings in year 1, just like how we did in the dividend growth model, right? So we take 5 Rand multiplied by our growth rate, which we calculated 16%, and we get 5 Rand 80 is our earnings in year 1, right? So we say 10 times by 5 Rand 80 gives us 58 Rand. So the price of the share is 58 Rand, right? So it sounds a little bit more complicated, but basically it's an easier way of calculating the value of the share using the price PE ratio, right? The price to earnings ratio. So if you're familiar with financial ratios, this will make a lot of sense to you, and you can try and attempt a question, well, this is a very common question in the exam. So you can try and do this question. So you have been reading about Medi Computer Company, which currently retains, its retention rate is 60% of its earnings, which are 5 Rand per share this year. It earns a return on equity of 19%. Assuming the required rate of return of 14%, how much would you pay for MCC on a basis of the earnings multiplier model, right? So basically now you first need to determine your growth rate. They've given you your return on equity, they've given you your retention rate, right? Then you will calculate your growth rate. Then you say P over E is equal to your payout ratio, the amount of dividends you're paying. So your payout ratio, you say 1 minus your retention rate, like I've showed you in the formula here, will give you your payout ratio. So our retention rate was given at 60%. That means 40% gets paid out. 60% they retain, they keep it in the company. Over K minus G, right? So that gives us our PE ratio. From our PE ratio, how do we calculate our price? We say PE ratio times by our earnings in year 1. Our earnings we multiplied by the growth rate, and you will get your price in year 0. So if you can attempt that question for us and put your answer in the chat.
So when you get the growth rate, please post in the chat.
Okay.
So that we are going together step by step.
So like, basically whenever you see a question like this, once you've been given retention rate or even payout ratio and ROE, you must know it's earnings multiplier model. This is the steps: growth rate, PE ratio, price. So the growth rate is 11.4%.
Okay.
Have a look at Angelique.
Okay, so we still have people who are, I think, we still have people who are fresh and ready to go, Yumna.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, you are onto something, Angelique. So you are on to, yes, Ruan, you are onto something. You are approaching the correct answer there.
Good job.
Popa is feeding the baby again. Okay, so if these ladies and gentlemen are angry with me, I'm used to, because I'm going through my third teenager, so I am used to people being angry at me.
Don't talk, John.
Because I always
What we're gonna do?
I say whatever is in front of my lips. Because what else? Yonela Ukwani. Let's see. Today, why I'm not harassing people, because people, it's after hours. That's why I'm not pushing people too hard.
But I think for evening lesson, we didn't target a very difficult concept. I think you all will be able to grasp it. This will be where you score your marks. And yes, like for me, the most difficult in this investment management is when you test the theory in multiple choice, but calculations, I mean, and you have the option, you're wrong when your answer is not in the one of the 4 options. So you go and you
are somewhere.
So I mean, that was the easiest. But when it comes to the
theory, for me, my West module was management. My West module was management, Yumna, because I would come out of that exam confident. And when the results come 60%, 55%, I say, where did I go wrong there?
But that John, that was the marker. You know, management is very subjective, the mark. Like
I
from
said to myself, I don't know where I'm getting, and that's why I said, oh, thank God I'm not doing BCom general. What was it? The one for management. What was it called?
lots of management, yeah. Even marketing, I think they do lots of management.
Yeah, it was just, I said, and then I loved the entrepreneurship, but I wasn't good at it. Entrepreneurship, and then it was one of my last modules, and I got, I think, 50% in that module. I said, lucky me.
Sorry, John, can you repeat? What did you get in entrepreneurship?
In the entrepreneurship, part 3, you know, my last semester when I was doing my last 5 modules, I got, so I chose entrepreneurship as my optional, 50%, right on the line.
Is it? For
But up to
entrepreneur?
now, but it was very useful. Okay, in terms of being useful, it was one of those very useful modules which teach you lots of things which you don't know, which are helpful, which were very helpful.
Okay.
But 50%.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure of that subject, yeah. But
Let's see what's what did Angelique get? 15. Let's see, let me look nicely on this.
Okay, and
11.4. There's something which you missed. Something which you missed. Something you missed there, Angelique.
So one, less the retention rate.
I think this part you didn't do. Elisa. Let's see, Melissa is something. Yeah, Melissa, you're on to something.
69.
My Melissa, you're on to something. Ruan is quiet. Opa is feeding the baby.
Good, guys. Yeah, but this is like the worst hour, so we understand.
Okay, let's see if we 20 past. Okay, Centel is on to something. I'm waiting for Rowan. Rowan just gave us a teaser and then he disappeared. You know why I chose the Wednesday, Yumna?
Yes.
Because my load shedding, if there's load shedding, my load shedding is between 6 and 8 on Thursday.
On Thursday, okay.
So I said, I don't want the stress. The other week I had a lesson on Thursday, a lecture on Thursday. It was frustrating because I had to go out to my sister's place and then set up there.
Oh, shame, man. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
every time I try to sit with this presentation, it's like I'm always out on the road when there is electricity at home, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, because we get like 3 times a day, you know. So some weeks it works out against.
No, 3 times a day is too much. We get once because we're in Dividend.
Oh,
They are still feeling sorry for us. Only when we're at stage 4, that's when they start load shedding.
We get 4 to 6, so you don't feel that one too bad. But sometimes if I'm up early, I like to work on the presentation.
Then you're stuck in darkness.
Yes, and then you get again from 12 to 2. And
that's not
then,
good.
Yeah, so 12 to 2, and then now we'll have from 8 to 10:30. So like, you know, to work after 10:30, then like your brain is a bit.
Sometimes it's really flat. Unless if you take a nap for about 1.5 hours.
Yeah, no, Jordan, those things don't exist when you are mom, you know.
Yes, true.
Don't even
true,
like
true.
be alone for like.
I last year the toddler in my house so long back. Forgive me. I have all these big children.
Yeah, no. So then at least like teenagers, they sleep a lot, you know.
Yes, the teenagers have to pull them out of their rooms.
Yes.
And you shout at them, and then they will be shouting back. So it will be this whole thing going. And after that, you ignore them. That's the only solution.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna write that down. For me, I have to write that down. But like you know, what our lives are. We like drop off to school. You have that time you can work. Then once you pick up from school, you're never at home for longer than an hour because we come home, you eat lunch, you go to like we do every day madrasa, which is like school on the Islamic side.
So you then you're up and running on the other side.
Yeah, and then once you pick them up from there, at least twice a week they have to do like swimming or like some sport, you know. So like, you know, especially a Thursday, I have like both my kids. I'm never at home. Like I just drop fetch the whole afternoon.
Then it's when I still had the 3 in the schools, it was just not happy, but happy time. Okay,
Yeah.
should we show the solution since the time is almost running out?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. We have our 2 brilliant students who got Melissa and Centel
Okay, well
right
done.
on the dot.
Well done. So you're required.
And Angelique got also 85.7. Perfect.
Okay, well done. So you say your required rate of return was given at 14%. Your return on equity was given to you at 19%. Your retention rate was given at 60%. Your earnings per share were given at 5 Rand. Step 1, we calculate the growth rate, which is 0.19 times 0.6, which gives you 0.114, which is 11.4%, right? Then you substitute into this formula, which is 1 less your retention rate. So if you say 1 less 60%, you get 40%, right?
Which is the payout.
Which is your payout ratio. So sometimes in a question they won't give you retention rate, they'll give you payout ratio, then you have to work out the retention rate. So they'll give you either or, but it's an easy, simple calculation. You just got to understand what the question is saying. Then over K minus G, which is 14% less 11.4%, right? Which is equal to 15.39 times. Your PE ratio is 15.39 times. Our earnings for the next year, you say 5 Rand multiplied by 1.114, which is multiplied by your growth rate, which gives you 5 Rand 57. Now you multiply 5 Rand 57 by 15 Rand 39 to get 85 Rand 69, which is the value of your share. Your earnings multiplied by your price to earnings ratio gives you your value of your share. So sometimes if you calculated your growth rate just for interest sake and it is higher than your required rate of return, what does that mean? That means you can't compute using this formula, right? So in that case there, you either need to go check if you calculated correctly or it's a type of question like a trick question, you know. But in this case here, your required rate of return in this model must always be, even in dividend discount model, must be higher than your growth rate. So it's quite a
Which is
simple
one of the weaknesses of the growth models.
So there's a theory question for you as well. It's one of the weaknesses. So yes, I hope that's okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, Centel, go ahead.
So I just, oh, sorry. Hi, sorry. Hi, Yumna. Hi, John.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, when we're calculating, how many places after the comma should we keep? Like, because I see sometimes it's like here it's 2 places with the 15.39, but in the other calculations it was like 4 places. So which one should we use for safety's sake?
So, you must always use 4 decimal places. Sometimes if after the 9 we had 00, I won't put the 00 in the question. I'm not sure what it was in this case. But you always keep your calculator at 4 decimal places to get an accurate answer.
Oh, okay.
And also probably here you trimmed off the rounding because it's a random amount. So random amount it should be 2 decimal places.
Your final answer must be
The final answer.
2 decimal places.
Because it's a random amount.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other question before we stop the recording?
Hi, John and Yumna.
Yes, Rufue.
Can you please send me more of these questions so that I can just go through it, because I'm a bit confused with it. So.
Okay, no, I can definitely do that for you. So which section are you referring to? So I can just ask you to look at certain sub-material till I upload. Are you looking at earnings multiplier or dividend growth model?
The one that we just did now, the multi-stage
The
growth.
multiplier. The multi-stage.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the multiplier, sorry.
Earnings multiplier. So
Yes.
in the meantime, till I upload, I'll look for a few extra questions. Please look at your study guide, study unit 8 or chapter 9, company valuation, I think it is.
Okay.
You will get some questions. The study guide has excellent questions.
Yes.
Most of them, yeah, so if you can look there. And I just uploaded only one on the tutorial, and I will try my best to look for a few more.
Okay, then I will engage with you via email.
Okay, yes, I'll do it on my UNISA so that we all can benefit.
Okay.
And yeah.